Hey friends, it's Jackeline here. In today's video, I'm bringing you my review, demo, swatches, comparisons, and 2 eye looks using the brand new NATASHA DENONA Retro Palette. But before we get started, and if you're new here, I hope that you can give me that opportunity and subscribe to my channel. Make sure you ring that post notification bell so you don't miss any of my uploads, and come and follow me on my Instagram. And now, if you want to see all the details about this new palette from NATASHA DENONA, then just keep on watching. Finally, FedEx arrived. I have been waiting all morning long because there has been a couple orders that I placed. One of them, the one that you're here for, my NATASHA DENONA Retro Palette, and also I placed an order with Tom Ford for the new blushes and the new concealer. I'm actually testing the concealer right now, so be on the lookout for the Tom Ford review. I think I'm gonna do two separate ones, one for the concealer and one for the blushes. But anyhow, friends, for what you came for, the NATASHA DENONA Retro Palette, a very anticipated palette. There were some images that leaked out and we were able to see it, you know, like a little bit over a month ago, and finally NATASHA DENONA decided to release it. It is her midi palette, and I think we're gonna see more midi palettes more than her regular size palettes. I think those are kind of like either fading away or she will just keep it like limited edition, you know, like she may restock it for special occasions like holidays and whatnot, because there are many of them that they are not even available at Sephora, and that we see them in and out from NATASHA DENONA's website. Anyhow, friends, I know I'm talking like 1,000 miles per hour, but I'm just so excited right here. So this palette costs $65. When you're watching this video, should be available right now at Sephora. I will be leaving all the details where to find the palette on the description box below for your convenience, along with the links. Be reminded, my links are affiliates, so when you shop through my links, you're helping out this channel right here and supporting me, and I'm just so grateful about it. Also, for details about if you're in another country and not in US, say you're in Canada, Europe, and whatnot, I do have a post on my Instagram where it tells you when it's going to be launching where. Also, I know, like for example, Sephora is launching on the app one day, then online another day, and then in stores other days. So hopefully it's not confusing, but I think that will be of great help. Now, the palette, I was able to place my order at NATASHA DENONA's website. She had an early access, and I'm like, oh yeah, let's just give it to me. So it came safe and sound. It's made in Italy, and it does have 15 eyeshadows. This is the beautiful unicorn right here. This palette right here is alcohol-free, paraben-free, non-tested on animals, and it has a shelf life of 24 months. And to be honest with you, this is my preferred size for NATASHA DENONA. I really love the packaging because it's very easy to clean, it's easy to storage. So you want to see it? Here you go, my friends. Ah, this is just so pretty. I love that color. And on the back, if you're not familiar with NATASHA DENONA palettes, they do have these little holes, so that way you can actually, you know, like get a little needle or something pokey and take off your eyeshadows and rearrange them the way you want it, or combine it with other eyeshadows from NATASHA DENONA. Now let's open this up right here. Look at this beautiful retro palette. I think NATASHA DENONA and I were talking the same language right here. Now, for many of us, this was not really too retro or too inspired by the mini retro palette, which I will compare it in a minute. But I think overall, it's a beautiful palette. I particularly love these kind of like pinky tones, cool tones, burgundy tones. But let's see how obviously it performs on the eyelids. And another thing to point out right here is that there are many matte shades right here, from her cream to powder formula to her creamy mattes. I mean, there's a really nice combination between that, metallics, there's a duochrome or 2 duochromes right here. I mean, we're gonna go into swatches right away. I know there is, I think this shade right here, Amara, is a repeat shade from the Lila palette, and I'm pretty sure that's the only one. So let's start swatch this baby right here. We're gonna do it row by row. Another thing too is the palette comes with a mirror. If you're familiar with NATASHA DENONA palettes, They do come with a mirror, not the mini ones, not also the 5-pound palettes, the bigger ones, but these midi size they do. A quick close-up before we go into swatches. Glitz Duochrome Cool Baby Pink with a Champagne Shift. Andy Matte Taupe Lilac Cream Powder. Jude Metallic Warm Taupe. Maud a matte off-white with pink undertone. Vivian Matte Light Pink Nude Cream Powder. Groove Matte Metallic Dark Warm Maroon. Apart Matte Dark Taupe Cream Powder. Psychedelic Warm Baby Pink with Multi-Color Sparks Tauper. Gogo Matte Medium Dark Rose Cream Powder. Patty Metallic Medium Nude Rose Copper. Swin Metallic Medium Dark Cool Maroon. Nude Mauve Matte Medium Light Neutral Nude. Rebellion Matte Medium Burgundy Cream Powder. I ran out of room, so I'm gonna swatch up here. We have first Helio. It's a medium taupe nude. Amara Matte Medium Cool Vintage Rose. Into this beautiful eye look that Natasha Denona posted on her Instagram, and I want to see if I can replicate it somehow. I don't know, but hey, you know what? Let's see. So let's go ahead and get started with the first eye look. Scott Barnes number 62 brush, and we go to Nude Mauve. Sonia G Worker Pro and the shade Apart, and I'm taking this shade on the outer third. Sonia G Builder Pro, and we're gonna go to the shade Jude, and I'm taking this shade between, almost to the middle and then to the outer third, but not all the way to the outer corner. Refer 14 brush and the shade Amara, and I'm taking this shade and applying it on the inner third of the eyelid. Sonia G Builder Pro and the shade Swing, and I'm taking this shade and applying it close to the inner corner, getting towards the middle. Smith 253 brush and the shade Helio, and I'm applying this shade right in the middle of the eyelid. Refer 02 brush and the shade Nude Mauve, and I'm taking this shade on my lower lash line. Sonia G Flat Definer and the shade Apart, and I'm gonna take it very close on my lower lash line. Refer 03 brush and the shade Vivienne, and I'm taking this shade and applying it on my brow bone. Refer 03 brush and the shade Psychedelic, and I'm applying it on my inner corner. Completely done with this look right here. I will be leaving all the details as far as eyeliner, rest of what I use as far as makeup goes on the description box below too. Now let's go for the second look. I'm going to be using a Sonia G Builder Pro brush, and I'm going to go to the shade Vivienne. This shade is showing well. I do have a light to medium skin tone, and it's actually showing that pink undertone to it. BK Beauty 202 brush and the shade Andy. And I'm going to apply this shade on the outer V, and I'm going to take it also on the crease. Sonia G Mini Booster, and I'm going to go to the shade Rebellion, and I'm taking this shade on the outer V. I feel that I need a little bit of warmth in this look, so I'm going to go to the shade Go-Go with a Sonia G Blender Pro. Apply it above and around the shade Rebellion. Smith 253 brush and the shade Patty, and I'm applying this shade on the inner third of the eyelid. Refer 16 brush, I'm going to go to the shade Apart, and I'm going to take it on the outer V just to make it just a little bit deeper. Smith 253 brush and the shade Glitz, and I'm going to place it right on the middle of the eyelid. Now it says that the shade Psychedelic is a taupe, so it looks more like metallic-y. So I'm going to apply just a dash in the center, a little tap right there, not too much because I don't want to cover the shade Glitz, which is stunning. It's such a pretty shade. Rephr 02 brush and the shade Andy. And I'm taking this shade and applied it on the lower lash line. Sonia G flat definer and the shade Rebellion. And I'm taking it very, very close to the lower lash line. Same brush going to the shade Apart. And I'm going to take this shade close to the lower lash line on the outer V and also on the upper lash line. Rephr 03 brush and the shade Glitz. And I'm taking this shade on my inner corner and also on my brow bone. Okay, before I give my final thoughts, let's move on right here. Oh, I forgot to mention, while I was off camera, I went ahead and applied a little bit of Pillow Talk eyeliner by Charlotte Tilbury, and then NATASHA DENONA lipstick in Amorosa. This was part of her, I think it was the Valentine's collection, the Love collection. Yeah, somewhere in there. Okay, my friends. Now, I was thinking I didn't apply any blush, so I'm gonna go to this shade Go Go, and I'm using a Sonia G detail brush from her Lotus collection. And I'm just gonna grab just a little and see if it's needed in a pinch. I mean, you can always use one of these shades as a blush, and I'm just gonna drape it. And look how beautiful it blends. And perhaps out of all these shades, this area right here is the area that has the warmest tones in the palette, because for the most part this is a cool tone palette. And then there's no shade right here that I can really use as a highlighter, so I'm just gonna jump into my I Need a Nude. This is such a beautiful highlighter. And I'm gonna use my Rephr 20 brush. That, by the way, if you are watching this video during this Labor Day weekend, Rephr is running a great sale, 40% off, and also Rephr right now, they used to only accept US dollars, and right now they accept like Canadian dollars, euros, so a lot of people are gonna be really happy about that. And now let's go with comparisons. I have here the retro palette midi size versus the mini retro. As you can tell, this is cool tone, but it has it is different, so I'm just gonna go ahead and swatch it. Here you go. So I have swatch right here mini retro with midi retro. In composition, the entire thing, I think they flow really well, and this can make of a good companion palette. I have removed the mini retro palette and just left the midi retro, and we're gonna go into other comparisons. And to make it a little bit faster, I'm just gonna show the palette that I'm gonna be actually comparing it to, and I'm gonna swatch it all on my left hand side, and then I'm gonna go like this. That way it's easier for you and you can actually see side by side how each palette compares. So going next with Anastasia Beverly Hills, and this is her Modern Renaissance palette. And this palette right here was, back on the time, a big boom because no other brand was doing different color stories. Everything was very neutral, not even too much cool tones, but very neutral. Modern Renaissance and Retro palette, Huda Beauty New Nude palette and Midi Retro, Huda Beauty Nutty palette, Charlotte Tilbury Instant Looking Up palette Pillow Talk, Charlotte Tilbury Star in Your Eyes palette 2018 Holiday Collection, Divine Rose number 1. Natasha Denona Love Palette. Natasha Denona Lila Palette. All done with comparisons. Now into my final thoughts. Let's be honest, okay? Leaving aside the name retro and thinking that this retro midi palette was gonna be a inspiration or a continuation of the mini retro, I think leaving that aside, leaving the retro type of thing, this is yet a retro in terms of inspiration type of palette, but it's a gorgeous maroon, pinky, taupey, cool tone palette, and it makes of a unique palette for Natasha Denona's eyeshadow palettes. For her whole repertoire, there's nothing like this. Even when she repeated this shade from the Lila palette, in terms of color story, is unique, is gorgeous. I use all the shades exception of the matte shades on my eyelids, and everything, absolutely every single shade performed excellent. If I had to change something, I would say perhaps this shade right here, you know, but that's something just me, you know, so me. And I love that she's bringing us with something new to her collection, because as you were able to take for the comparisons, there are many palettes out there that have, you know, a maroony, pinky color story, but they are not the formulation of Natasha Denona. And I'm not saying that in a despective way for Charlotte Tilbury or for Pat McGrath or for Huda Beauty. No, it's not that. It's just what I'm saying. This is unique for the formulation of Natasha Denona, and to me, I'm super happy with my purchase. I love this color story. Is elegant, is glamorous, is romantic, is feminine with a glam and with that retro touch. I think it's just so gorgeous. Everything worked perfectly fine. If I find any fallout, if you're wondering, not really, not even on these shades right here. Make sure you top off your brush, you know, like the U press. I didn't use any mixing medium, no MAC Fix Plus today, because I know Natasha Denona eyeshadows, they have full opacity, but if you want any of the metallics to be more intense, use them wet or use them with your fingers and you will get to there. But as you can tell, I mean, performance is amazing, and this makes it of a beautiful companion palette for, I think, more than anything, for the Glam palette. And in fact, when I was reviewing the Glam palette, I remember, I think I said it, I wish that Natasha Denona will bring us something on these tones of pinks right here and cool tones. And I'm not saying that she listened to me, but I think these two palettes together, they just are amazing. And that's the same reason I didn't swatch it, because there's not much pink in it. But I think not even the taupey shades are repeated right here, but it will make a really good, like, you know, companion palette, like, you know, we're best friends right here. And even on the retro palette, even if you don't have those greeny shades, I think, you know, you can make a combination right here. But actually, I really love to see the Lila palette together, and I know there are some websites that they still have the Lila palette. If I find it, I will make sure to link it. But I think these have, you know, other taupey shades. It's a lot of fun that actually they can, again, work together really beautifully. I think if you are planning to get this palette right here, I don't think you will be disappointed at all and whatsoever. It's gorgeous as long as you like this type of color story. Like I said, it will give you, anywhere you go, an elegant look, and you can do a very simplified look. I tried to use as many eyeshadows today for the purpose of this review and to try on all the formulas right here, but you can go very simple with this shade right here, this shade right here, an all matte look, this shade right here. I mean, like, you have a lot to work right here, also because she's giving us a lot of matte shades on this palette. Great job from Natasha Denona. And now I would love to know from you, are you planning to get this new retro palette from Natasha Denona? Perhaps you already got it, perhaps you already tried it. How are you liking it? Let's go ahead and enrich the conversation on the comment section down below. And while you're at it, and if you haven't done so yet, I hope that you can give me that opportunity and subscribe to my channel. Make sure you ring the post notification bell so you don't miss any of my updates. uploads. Mostly if you want to see, I mean, I do a lot of reviews, but like I said, I'm going to be reviewing the new blushes from Tom Ford, also the new concealer. So if you want to see that and you want to see much more, I mean, go ahead, just subscribe. Also, I'll keep you posted on my community tab whenever there's a new release, launch, and whatnot. We can keep the conversation going. Also, come and follow me on my Instagram, because right there, again, I keep you posted on the new makeup releases, launches, when something comes in restock and whatnot, early access, I mean, you name it. Come and follow me on my Instagram. And if you like this video, do not forget to give it a thumbs up. Also, share with family and friends. And until the next time, I hope you have a beautiful, wonderful day. Bye!